Today on Insight Check, I was hoping to talk to you about the strange bugs they found in Bob Marley's dreads and beard after he died.
What?
Yeah, so they did an
No.
autopsy.
No, no,
No?
no, 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 no.
So our
That's
normal D&D then?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, today on Insight Check, we're going to be turning to the Thistle and Quill campaign, this Feywild campaign, and figure out some more of the local laws of the various courts and factions. We've only got two strange laws so far, but they're a little obvious. One, no cannibalism by extremes. The Feywild, they're not religious. They're not even necessarily lawful as a whole, but they are extreme. And so if because of the wild hunt eating its way through the spring court and stuff like that, there is a really strict no cannibalism law, to the point where whatever you took, you're going home without. Like if you ate an ear, you're going home without an ear. There have been political assassinations because people so strongly hold to this no cannibalism law. The other law being no iron, kind of an obvious one. The Fae are repelled by iron, and so the whole world would be pretty ironless. But that's all I've got so far. And so we need to come up with more strange, seemingly like when you first hear it, it sounds just ridiculous, and then you learn why and how they got to this roundabout way of cultivating their world.
So an easy one today.
I think focusing on the Hiri court, the day court, is a good starting point, because all the other courts kind of have a thing, and the day court, you could argue, are kind of the they're not just the Fae. They are obviously the day Fae, but they're a little bit of like the standard, like the baseline for Fae culture. They're not basic, because to say that the Fae are basic is just asking for trouble. But we do need to come up with a thing for them. We've got the culture we've got built for them so far is that they are cheerful to the point of weaponized cheeriness. The sense of self is not there. It's much more of that culture of you can't cry on the bus, you're the problem all of a sudden, you know what I mean? I want to say various cultures that are not limited to, but would be a good example to reference in this area would be like Japan and China have a bit of a it's not about a self, it's much more about staying out of everyone else's way and kind of not being the problem. And I'm being very reductive in this because I'm not very learned on the topic, but there's a lot more to it, and it's not necessarily bad, it's just different from the Western perspective in society. So I'm thinking we're gonna do a little bit of that there is no war in Bossing Say kind of energy. But that's all I've got so far.
Live, laugh, love in the living room.
Yeah. Oh no. The Hiri court is the largest by far, to the point where they even gave up land to let the spring court, the Hryal court, no, the spring court, to rebuild their lands after the appetite plague. So I'm thinking there's a bunch of city states that have all kind of grown into a kingdom at this point under the Hiri court.
Sure.
But I'm thinking like a lot of like famous Fae have their own like their own like small city states that eventually grew into the Fae court as a whole. So maybe we could build some of those high profile individuals and build some laws off of them. I think, but I don't want it to be just like the Tooth Fairy and then come up with some kind of
Sure.
reskinned
Yeah.
version of the Tooth Fairy. I want to come up with like stuff. You know, I want to come up with something that can be taken seriously.
Right. Well, I mean, the first thing I want to know here is what's the conflict in play for the Sun guys?
The conflict in
Like
play.
what's their, are they party antagonistic? I mean, I know it's all sort
They're
of
party antagonistic. The party is generally in the summer court. That's where the college is, and the summer court is kind of the second most powerful. So they're very stuck in their ways, and the summer court is very Western minded in that they have the weird ways, and they're doing trade with other dimensions, and they're letting people in and into their cities and stuff like that, and being very open about that. And all the other courts are very like, don't like that.
the iconography there lends itself to some like I would assume that those two courts are very closely associated. I mean, summer
Physically.
is
Yes.
heat, summer is sun, summer is dry, I mean,
Yeah.
it's so
The summer court is very Rohan looking, and sunset,
Sure.
almost sunset across the land, in between the day and night courts. So geographically they're next to each other, but they don't hold their culture is vastly different.
sure, but to continue with the
Sorry.
Avatar
Okay.
analogy here. What was the two clans that the like soccer episode that everybody skips?
Oh yeah, in the
were
ravine.
they were like ancestral siblings, and
That,
then
like,
they
hated each other.
split. Yeah, they hate each other now. So like, I could easily see that being
Fuck with
a
that.
linkage between the summer and sun courts because they're, I mean they just like conceptually they're closely related, and I feel like that should have some kind of weight in a Fey realm where
Yeah.
concept is going to be kind of, I would expect there to be a linkage. So if the party is linked with the summer court, then it stands to reason that the sun court probably doesn't like them for very legitimate and modern reasons, and definitely not any sort of like carried forward ancestral beef.
Sure. I like that.
So there's
there-
a conflict to start.
in the summer court, there used to be a family that basically ran the court. They had the most influence in the court, and a Void Scourge came along, and with their buddy the River Lord, one of the smaller Fey nobles, they killed that family because they were evil and they were secretly nightmares and stuff like that. But that family is gone. Maybe we can play on that and say that, oh, that's our distant relative. The Day Court is like so they hate the River Lord specifically, who now kind of runs the Summer Court. So that's a nice that there's some contention there, is that a prominent ally to the party is hated by the Day Court. And we can even go way back as to why.
Okay, so that's kind of I don't want to say abstract, but that's kind of like a surface, a surface level. I wonder if we could dig a little deeper.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more fundamental. I mean, I don't remember if we've spoken about like resources. I mean, it's
No, I don't
kind of
think we have.
Feywild, so I don't.
Yeah,
We're
there's
kind
not a
of we're
lot
kind
of
of like a
like
that's the other
need.
thing that I would think of is like they're fighting for a resource. I mean, it's a primary
Yeah, I guess we could
inter
come up with a resource that isn't just like food.
country. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what it would be in. I I think I've
Hmm.
made the joke before that it was it'd be something weird like dreams, from the
Oh,
travelers, or something,
that's kind of
kind of
interesting.
ethereal. But
Hmm.
I feel like not every individual would want that as like a. So I don't think it would work as like a current. It would work as a currency for like a guy who's the dream eater
Yeah.
and he wants the dreams, but nobody else cares about it. You know what I mean?
So back to high profile Fae within the day court.
Oh,
The Dream Eater could certainly be one.
that's that doesn't seem very day court. Well, you could kind of link it to day court. I mean, what better way to steal night, than to eat
Mm.
the dreams, like the like the
Yeah, if it's just a time skip without the dreams, then the night's
yeah.
not
Well,
there.
I feel like dreams would be the well. I mean, it's sleep more than night, so it's not really night related, but it kind of is.
Yeah, but you can skin it as like like literal dreams or like ambition.
That's true. Yeah, I was down the actual dream rabbit hole.
I mean, it can be both. You know what I
It
mean?
could be both. Yeah, and I mean, they're just siblings. One likes actual REM sleep dreams, and the other one is about ambitions.
The Dream
Or
Eaters.
continue with the Avatar, and it's just my brother Shu.
Where you been?
Oh, I'm not the one that likes ambitions. That's the other one over there. Hi, yeah, I like ambitions. Eh,
Yeah. Maybe they're linked in some way. In some fanciful Feyan, fantastical logic. You need to have dreams to have ambition, or something like that. They go hand in
sure.
hand in some way, shape, or form.
I
What are
mean,
some other high profile Fae we could cook?
do you want it to be like? I mean, this is just called the Avatar episode, but we went with the Bossing Say war bit. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
How deep does that go? Is that the vibe when the party travels to the day court? Is that the vibe? Where they're like, "Welcome in, yeah, take a seat, have a do," very welcoming,
Very,
and then
very
you
cheery.
slowly start to. Well, we don't talk about that topic around here,
Yeah.
and then some other red
They
shirt over in the
pointedly
corner
keep
talks
the.
about it, and then they quietly are disappeared from the party, kind of thing,
Yeah,
or
that'd be cool.
whatever. Is that gonna be the
I'd like
vibe?
that. I'd like that.
Okay, I
Just sinister, but
yeah. Well, then
weaponizing
I
cheerfulness.
kind of like the idea along the like Dream Eater thing.
Yeah.
They if the party meet them, or when the party meets them, they're not like super spooky. They're just
Hmm.
like, oh man, maybe this is a little on the nose, but they're just like really welcoming rich guy,
Sure.
who exploits the working class,
It's
the
giving
Dream
Vampire
Eater.
Lord.
But okay, so do you like that? Do you want more of that same level of contrast where
Yeah, I
it's
want to
just
mix.
actual nightmare under
I
the
want to
surface?
mix. I want to mix
Okay,
because that way it's a little more real feeling.
sure. Well, I feel like okay, there's a kind of a balance there because the why do the day court hide this is gonna sound real straightforward when I ask it. Why did the Day Court hide so much from the darkness?
I don't think they do.
So what are they hiding? They're doing. It's not literal war, right? So
Right.
what are
It's
they
not
like?
literal war.
What are they actually afraid of talking about?
There is a conspiracy that one of the party members who is from the Day Court was told, hey, you can't look into this at all. And so she was like, well, fuck you, I'm going to the college. I've got this scholarship lined up, and I can research whatever I want over there. And once I'm on that soil, it's embassy soil, and you cannot come get me.
Sure.
Legally. So we got to cook the big old conspiracy.
Okay. I was gonna add. My next question was, do we have any conspiracy at this point?
We got like half a year till the campaign comes. So
Okay. Well,
but
then we circle around to the same question. It's not really a problem. The same question.
Mm-hmm.
What are they hiding? Are they? I mean, I think that they're big, so they're going to be prominent.
Yep. They're
Are they kind of the big bad?
They're no. The big bad is in the Night Court, who is trying to steal the moon back. Because that's how the Fen were able to banish the Wild Hunt from the realm, once they got rid of the moon.
I mean, we talked about. I'm going to circle. I'm not sticking here, just to re-enter the path.
Okay.
The idea of a Dream Eater. I mean, we're looking for a resource. One of the reasons I could see them trying to hide something is to generate an emotion.
That's interesting.
Being a Day Court, it's supposed to be bright and cheery and sunny. I mean, it's maybe a little simple, but like, what if it's just good vibes only? Because good vibes keep everyone fed.
Yeah.
They literally live on good vibes.
They have to almost police dissent for the sake of dissent, not for the sake of overthrowing the whatever, or they just need to keep the people sated.
To me, that also means that the population size has started to grow beyond like a reasonable good vibes. Like they're out of good vibes. Like they're running out. There's too many people to have good vibes all the time. So they're starting to struggle. Whatever. Why?
Indicative by the players.
I don't know if it's like Stormlight, where they're taking these good vibes and literally turning it into, sandwiches, to feed people, or if it's just like kind of. I mean, it powers their lifestyle in some way in this idea. So my thought is, the only reason that they would be cracking down on bad vibes is there aren't really enough good vibes to go around.
What if, to flip it,
crazy.
That is nutty, but this is the Feywild. This is perfect. I like this, but I want to approach the concept of flipping it and being like, no, we have to keep everyone happy because we, the Day Court, is no one's friend. If the people shift it out of cheerful satedness, we become like Templars. Like we change. We become the baddies. And so we're actively trying to push that away. And somehow, if all of the people are upset enough, they change. The court there's an effect on them. Maybe someone was like, no, we need to be of the people, you know, and so I'm gonna wield this wish or extreme magic to force the court to rely on the happiness of the people, or else bad thing happens. And now that all these years later, they're fucking stuck with it still.
It's like a curse.
Kinda. But they believe that it will hurt them in some way unless they keep their people happy. Some altruistic, magic user tried to force the hand of the government to always be for the people, and it's just rotted over time. And it's just festered over time. And now there is no war in Ba Sing Se energy that they're all like bound to.
Sure.
My mustache is being weird today.
There
we go.
I mean, that does bring the focus back to the controlling body, or the like wealthy elite, or whatever, whoever, you know. I feel like,
but they have to keep that a secret too.
So here's the problem, I think, with this is, as they depend, like, I guess the lever is, what is their response / punishment to negativity? Because if people are disappearing, it would really have to be like, oh, we've been awarded a special vacation to it would have to straight up
the happiest
be like,
place.
Yeah.
They come back happy.
Yeah, so happy. Because otherwise, if it's too bad, then that will itself breed negativity in the people,
and
which,
like you were saying earlier,
doesn't work.
There would be too many people.
Yeah.
This is something that would apply to like a smaller group of society. Because you're right, it would be really hard to kind of enforce just happiness.
We're kind of, building what was it, Rapture and BioShock? Like, that's kind of what's happening. It's
a little bit, yeah. A little bit.
It's a utopia
by force.
That's teetering always on the edge of total destruction, basically. Which, I mean, is the utopia story.
But that could be the conspiracy, because if people know about it, then easily the summer court could be the day court could be destroyed. Because all you need is a few bards in a couple of key taverns.
We have to figure out what that means. The destruction. Will they just blow up?
No. I think...
Does it wake an angry eldritch entity underneath the city?
Or it could be... That'd be
the
cool.
The vibes aren't good enough.
The party titan returns. The rager. It could be something like... I hesitate to suggest something so mundane, but it could be like suddenly all of their legal stuff no longer applies and they're not a court anymore, and it disbands the court.
That'd be wild. That's like the party stands in a semicircle as technically their constitution is ripped in half, and they're just kind of like, whoa. Huh. I don't really know what happens with that,
It's the Feywild is a chaotic realm, and the idea of Fey courts implies that there are lawful entities trying to...
I don't know that it means litigious court, right? It's generally like a royal court.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's true.
all of the people that matter show up and we just kind of hang out all day and sometimes talk about like governance.
Yeah, true. True, true, true.
I don't really know. I mean, I guess yeah. What a that would be actually kind of crazy. This is a tangent. It's not that. It's not royal court. It's litigious court. It is straight up a literal court, and it just becomes half of a courtroom drama. Like
I do want to do political intrigue.
that would be. I mean, it'd be kind of wild. What a weird
And they're
reversal.
all
I feel like that's a
fucking
book somebody needs to
tired.
write.
Taking their happy pills.
It's like you combine Akatar with A Few Good Men, is the pitch for the book.
That's interesting. That's
be
really
wild.
interesting.
It'd be wild. Anyways.
Yeah, we really should lean on more like nobility.
Yeah. I wasn't actually suggesting it.
Yeah. But like, I'm
your
realizing that we really should lean on nobility instead of a litigious court. Because the existence of any litigious court, it feels like, in these fantasy games that is D&D, is to be hated, is to get nothing done, is for the party to buck up against and give rousing speeches, you know?
Just our American bias.
Yeah. Well, it's not even American. I mean, look at the UK, where they're like, it's normal to just be hollering at each other. You know what I mean?
Oh, I find that much better.
I agree. I'm just saying, like,
make it entertaining so people pay attention.
the day they start coming in with cups and mouth guards is the day I'm gonna start paying attention.
Absolutely.
Maybe they'll start having some younger folk in politics.
Hey, that's one way to weed out the old fogies. You gotta take a few hits, literally.
Good night.
Anyway.
And that's another thing, actually.
Okay.
So it's a noble court.
Mm-hmm.
Do these Fae live forever? Or do they have just prolonged lifespans?
I mean, is there time in the
No.
in the Feywild? So I would say yes, they live forever. I mean, maybe
So
that
what, everyone
changes
lives forever?
if they leave. Maybe that changes. You know, they have to experience time. You know.
Yeah, and so
like,
going
in the
out is like
Feywild,
seen as this great sacrifice. You're giving up a chunk of your immortality. Or rather, you're just gonna be older and shittier.
You're just gonna be older, and you're gonna be
Yeah.
stuck that way. I feel like that's a pretty fundamental choice to make. As far as
Eladrin are the
changes
primary.
the whole dynamic of the.
There's a lot of races. There's a lot of species. I want to say, you know how in D&D like half of everybody is humans, or some.
Sure.
I'm thinking half of everybody, you know, is Eladrin, which is Elvish. Which says here Eladrin can live to be over 750 years old. Can you age in the Feywild?
I mean, that's just gonna depend on
Sure, true.
what Feywild you're talking about. Specifically D&D, maybe. Yeah, there's an answer to that question, but
The first thing that comes up is that you do, but depending on how you're counting your age, you might have to keep track of two numbers for your character after a journey into the Feywild. You'll have to your subjective age and the experiences as you go through your life. So that doesn't really answer anything.
yeah, it's chaos, and you do what you want.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the answer.
Sorry.
I think. I mean, you could do ageless, but I think the story to tell there is like the heralds in Stormlight. Like it's
Yeah, they
just
go
how
nuts.
crazy are they after being in charge for 30,000 years?
Maybe age could be the resource.
Sure.
That gets fucked up quick, though.
I mean, does this take place in your kind of like painly? Okay.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of. I mean, I mean, well, I guess to voice my train of thought, uh, being a podcast,
This is
and
a
all,
podcast.
so I'm told. Uh, Souls, right? Souls are a big deal, passing from pain to pain, right?
Yep. The astral current.
Uh, but if the Fae are ageless, then they're just basically hoarding. Here's a weird question. What's reproduction like in the Feywild?
Go into elves.
Not to be confused with Akatar. I'm talking about just in general. You know what I mean?
Generally, few and far between children will occur.
Okay, so it's just like a rarity.
Partners aren't usually seen as for life.
Sure.
So you really got to
Very
click with this
cash.
person. Well, it's not cash. It's just... It's... I mean, what they would call it, they would call enlightened. It's not casual. It's very, very serious, but it's not too... They take it very seriously. And if they're taking it very, very, very seriously, they'll have a kid. And that's kind of seen as like... Instead of like, oh, you mean it because you got married, it's, oh, you mean it, you had a kid. And the children generally are like the most magically potent in their earliest.
In which that just incentivizes reproduction on purpose. Resources notwithstanding. If you had theoretically infinite resources and your kids are stronger, then you would just straight up be popping out kids as much as possible.
Yeah, I guess we can reel that back.
Yeah. I was just thinking about, like, if you lived forever, like if they're ageless, I feel like it would be relatively normal to do if there's like an actual marriage, it wouldn't be also forever by definition. It would be for a span of time.
Sure.
And then once that time is up, you can reevaluate. But like normal, I don't know, just we're on a weird topic.
Yeah, maybe you can get the courts involved with that.
Well, I mean, it's just up, You just have so many years left, It's just that marriage is done, and you could redo it after 1,000 years, or you just you move on or whatever. I don't know.
Where it's socially acceptable by the people around you to be like, I mean, I had the okay to walk out of that,
Sure, but I mean, we've strayed very far from day court conversation.
Well, no, we could do marriage law as a strange law.
Right. Yeah, I forgot the original. Yeah, so I guess it is relevant. It doesn't feel so strange, really, but it is an interesting question of, generally we say things like be together forever, and there's this romantic idea of like
Till
having
death
the
do
one
us
partner
apart.
for an extended, yeah. But if there is no death, suddenly you have to face the reality of eternity? God.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is an interesting question to ask. But probably not super duper.
Yeah.
No need to go super deep into it unless one of the party is particularly interested in it. But it's not really like a gotcha law. That's just like kind of interesting lore to go alongside. It's not like on the same level of.
There's the traditional never thank a fae, because then you'll be in their debt. Never eat the food that's offered to you, or else you'll stay in the Feywild forever. Never give them your name.
And some of that, realistically, you can't do the food thing because this is
right.
It's kind of a Feywild campaign to begin with. So like,
yeah.
I mean, are the party like from? Like, is this
Half
their
the party
place, or
is
they
like from?
Okay.
One member is going to be from the night court. One member is going to be from the day court.
But unless they have like non-Fey food stalls that are protected by the FDA,
By the Fey
you can't
DA.
realistically expect to go to a Fey college and not eat Fey food, right? So
Yeah,
that's
it's
kind of
true.
a trap. That's not like a real choice for the party. It's,
Maybe before they
welcome to the
leave, they have to
campaign. You're
like go
stuck in the
talk to the
Feywild.
guy and talk to
Sorry.
maybe before they leave, they have to go talk to the headmasters, and he has to like de-authoritize the hold that the Feywild would have on them.
Hmm. That actually is kind of an interesting idea.
Okay.
What makes the Feywild the Feywild? I mean, it just is, right? I mean, it's just a thing.
To a degree, it just is, but it's also this realm that does not move through the astral. It's
Sure.
like all the other pains do, and that's how they have time.
I mean, it kind of looks nice, and is very fantastical and whimsical and chaotic. But in contrast to that, it's is it not just like stagnation? It's
Hmm.
almost a curse of eternity. So like the whole eat the food bit, it's a curse. Like you're cursed to stay there.
Hmm.
Everyone who lives there is basically cursed to stay there. I mean, they could choose to leave and then they would get old and
Unless
die,
they get
as
some
per our
powerful help,
previous discussion.
right?
Yeah. Um, so like if you go and eat, you have to. I mean, if you have to somehow get someone with the right authority to release you, which is that's just like a goal, then and there,
Yeah.
existential need kind of thing. Uh, but the I think the it's kind of like gilded, like it's glitter on top of that. They're all just stagnant. There's no actual like there's no growth to be had. They're
Let's.
like moving around sand in a sandbox.
Yeah, it is. That is a great point. We could also say that because it doesn't move through time, this particular pain, that it does not have access to the astral current, so they don't have kids. This is why the Feywild steals children in stories.
Right.
Huh. Maybe you can't have kids while you're in the Feywild because no new souls enter the pain. Well, you can have kids, but they won't have a soul, and so they'll be kind of
They're all just stonks.
no,
All the kids are just
no,
stonks.
no, no,
That's
no,
how
no.
the
God,
hoity-toity how the
no.
hoity-toity has come into existence.
Oh God, I am gonna have a member of the hoity-toity in this world though.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
He
why
should
wouldn't
just
I?
he should just be the Hoyd now.
Yeah, right. Oh man, I got the hoity-toity name from him too because he had said
Mm.
something, and I was rewatching the episode, and he was like something something. This is just a bunch of hoity-toity, This is a bunch of, and I was like, all right, understood. uh,
I I mean, it's I I think there's something there with the whole like to rotate back
the
again to this
stagnation of it.
idea of stagnation.
Yeah, even though it's like wild and alive and very much growing constantly and stuff like that.
Right, but like it's like it's like if all the quarts are like half full glasses of water,
Uh huh.
and then like one quart gets a little bit of power of the other one, and they just pour that same amount of water, but it's just moving. This is a weird
I kind of go
analogy.
with the balance.
It's not even like a balance thing. It's like they're not really gaining anything. Not truly. It's all just this. It's still the same. It's still like stagnant.
What if?
Like, but this is like a concept that would live underneath everything.
Yeah.
Like the fundamental concept of or conflict of like the whole Feywild in general is that like
Is that time doesn't pass here? It doesn't. It's not a place
nothing
that grows.
truly has nothing they do truly has like a lasting difference. It's like in like a normal country v country situation, you go into war and then like one country kills a bunch of the other country, and then so they have a lot less people, and so the country A goes into country B and starts to take that land, and then they assimilate country B into country A. But like the mechanic that allows that to happen is that people die.
Right.
But if they don't die, if there's no way for like the souls to go anywhere, if I mean, I guess that's a different kind of immortality.
What does
But,
happen
like-
to the souls when one of them die?
Yeah, it's a good question. Do they die?
Well, they die. Yes, you can be killed. You can
Okay.
be killed. But your soul doesn't necessarily go anywhere. Because it would normally be pulled into the astral current, but the astral current's not here.
So there's just ghosts everywhere.
No. But there should be. And that's something in the conspiracy we can touch with like the Dream Eater and stuff like that.
Yeah, so what would be happening to all those souls?
Food for thought. Food for thought.
All right.
Everything I come up with is a little too nefarious for the Feywild and belongs in Bayonet.
Well, I mean, it's easy enough to twist it, and they don't have to be sad ghosts.
Are you suggesting a ghost court?
The secret ghost court. That's actually kind of dope.
The secret
Hold on.
spectral court.
Wraith court. Court of the dead. Or they break the convention. They turn things on their head. They put the court word first. Very different, you see.
It's like he's wearing his pants on backwards. What are you doing? Come on. Maybe the night court is secretly just all ghosts.
Oh, that would be funny. Yeah.
No, because then the night
But then
court
it's
would be
not
like,
secret.
we just kill everybody.
But then it's not secret.
True. Yeah,
If you
we
wanted to
could
make it
have, like,
secret,
a-
it would be the sun court. It'd be the day court. Because the day is not
you just
that's
wouldn't
not-
suspect it.
like iconography, that's not associated with death or the undead or any of that. Day court is very
Happy, very cheery, very full of life.
yeah. That could be an interesting twist. The day court's where the zombies are at. I don't-
We could have it be a separate court, and then just have a new BBEG. This secret court.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a BBEG, but they would be. I swear I'm not trying to ham-fist this idea in there,
You
but
could.
they would be the anti-stagnation faction. They would be like the way the Feywild exists as a dimension is just going to continue to generate ghosts. It's fundamentally broken. They would be like, we need to dismantle and rebuild this crap from the bottom. Like, fundamentally, it's broken here. So they would be kind of anti-Feywild.
So
faction.
they want to.
I don't imagine every ghost would want to.
They want
do
to,
that, though.
in essence. Well, this court,
Yeah.
the Wraith Court, would, in essence, want to turn the Feywild into a material plane.
Yes. Yeah. I think so.
That's kind of cool.
I imagine it would be headed up by individuals that did stumble into the Feywild and they were tricked into it, or they ate food and couldn't get out and they died. So they are like not really from the Feywild. I'm sure there's a mixture of both in there, but
they're trapped here. So
maybe
they
the person
see
who
trapped
started
here.
it, like the head of the court, was someone who was like trapped in the Feywild and then
That's
died
pretty
and then
cool.
couldn't even move on. So like you could even work in like they expected to rejoin the the halls of the ancestors idea, Valhalla
Yeah.
shenanigans.
Heaven.
And they can't because they're trapped in the Feywild. Their soul can't leave. They can't join their ancestors.
We have
Yeah.
precedents for that too.
Mm.
In Terraform. Because Shane's character straight up got. Straight up went down in a giant ball of fire. And couldn't do, like, his soul was kind of locked because of the Feyan influence that they were nearby.
So he gets sucked up by the Feywild.
Kinda. More like the thing that would have happened, the thing that would have reached out and taken his soul, couldn't, because it didn't have authority. Sinister, but justified. That's the best kind of bad guy, that where you can understand the
Sure.
logic behind what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they operate on like a fundamental, like, we set things right even if it creates suffering in the short term, which is a really roundabout way to say that idea. But
And
but
justify
then
the means.
but yeah, I mean it probably, it's not, I mean that would only, definitely create suffering, so like, yeah, good or bad, you know but that brings in kind of like a something that can have a small or large influence depending on how the party responds to it, or
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a big, it could be a small thing at the start. They start to hear about raids and stuff, and maybe that, actually, hang on. So the the beginning of the campaign, they start to hear about these crazy raids. They don't know who's doing it. I don't know. We were question marking about resources earlier, but they start stealing stuff that's important, or they start killing stuff, and then it's like, well, clearly the Night Court's doing this, right?
Yeah.
Clearly it's the Night Court. And they're like, well, us, not us. It's the Sun Court that's doing, and so it's kind of starts to kind of turn the bickering up an extra notch or two. Starts to sow a little bit of chaos for the party to navigate, instead of it just being sorry, stagnant.
No, you're good. The Sophic Court has, which is the fall court. The Sophic Court has really intricate burial rituals. Like they have mountain tombs. You know what I mean? So maybe those start getting raided, and they can't figure out why, Because it's fucking ghosts.
The ghosts just want their stuff.
Well, they're getting
They got
new
buried
ghosts.
with the corpses.
They're getting new ghosts, so they don't realize because well, it doesn't make sense to say that in this kind of high fantasy setting that they wouldn't realize that souls aren't leaving. But maybe the Wraith Court is like, we're gonna go free our brothers, you know what I mean? We're gonna go free our people and add to our rank.
You know what kills the vibe?
What kills the vibe?
When dead people are hanging around after they die. Like
It's
I'm trying to
certainly a
just
buzzkill.
I'm just trying to like have a good time.
Because it's all about them.
You know, do my 4 hours in court and then leave when Sandy shows up because just unbearable creature. And then, you know, but if there's just ghosts everywhere, like finally old Frank down the street who used to yell at you all the time has finally passed on. Nope, his ghost is still there, and now he doesn't.
Still trying to kick your dog.
He's still trying to kick my dog, and I just have had enough of Frank. So we gotta take all the ghosts and put them over there. We gotta find some place for them, right?
Okay. That could be what Sophic is into. So that would make them a primary...
maybe that's part of the ritual thing. Is they they proverbially sweep all the ghosts under the rug,
put it in that one
some
mountain.
kind of cage, you know, whatever that looks like. Whether it's a little pocket dimension or whatever it is.
But maybe they're
just
secretly...
put them somewhere.
Maybe they're secretly trapping them, boiling them down, turning them into a resource, and selling them back to the summer court. Or the day court.
Maybe. That's
maybe.
very...
But it gives the Wraith Court like a primary enemy if one of the courts is involved heavily with death rites.
I do think that's not bad. I mean, it's not... I don't know that it would... I would call it like a primary enemy. Because like... Yeah, they're doing the burial rites. Yeah, they're like trying to keep the souls trapped in a place where they don't have to look at them. But they're a symptom of a broken system.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably not great if, you know, to go with the whole like cage idea, it's not like great that they're putting the souls into the cages when they know good and well that they're still around and perceptive, you know, so there's a little bit of nefarious there. But like, it's not only that they're putting us in a box as a soul person. There's not that they're putting us in a box, is that we have to be put in a box in the first place is the true problem.
Right.
So primary enemy is that. Secondary enemy are just the douchebags along the way.
Yeah. All right, well, you've given me a lot to chew on.
Sure.
This was very, very useful. This has been Insight Check. This, of course, for everybody listening, is the method with which a lot of my prep actually... This is the secret sauce is external processing with my buddy Jared, my fantastic friend and roommate. Because for years it would just be like barging into his room and being like, I need like thing with stuff, and you ask pointed questions and I'm like, that makes sense. And then I build around it. Very keen mind and a creative as well. Not to say that you're all logic. You're a fantastic blend. No. You're just good at you're good at the stuff. Okay, you're very creative.
Sure.
You make music. You make amazing 3D models.
Wait,
Listen, you know,
seriously though, we gotta move on.
This will be the next opener.
That's enough.
Where I'm just like, today we're gonna talk about you, and you're like, no.
Leaf call.